Hello and welcome to episode 13 of Tech with Briley. Today we're going to be working on the Western Friend website. This project is written with Python and the Django web framework, as well as the Wagtail content management system. We've been building this for about 5 years. It's been a long-term project and we're trying to get it ready for launch, basically. As part of those preparations, I'm going through our code and we've been auditing our test coverage. I'm trying to get our coverage up to a good percentage for the critical features. So today we'll be writing some more tests. These tests can be pretty tricky to write and get kind of into the internals in some cases of Django's web request and response cycles and having to mock things. So since I am not very familiar with a lot of the concepts, I've been using GPT to kind of guide the development process in a way and offer insight, help me writing the tests. So let's take a look at one of our areas where we have some missing tests. Now it looks like part of this is because I've got a template helper here that just isn't tested, and in fact may not be in wide use. Create an issue for this. User subscription checks. I think if I complete this issue, our test coverage will be improved just by removing this code and using a model property on the user model, where we now have an isSubscriber property directly on the user model. So we don't need a template tag that can do the same, where the user model can already do that. So let's take this issue today. Our subscription is probably one of the core features of the website. The way the Western Friend subscription works is subscribers pay a yearly fee and as a result get a printed or PDF copy of each magazine issue as it comes out and get exclusive access to the most recent magazine issues, the most recent 3 issues. All the other issues going back to 1929 are publicly available. It's a pretty interesting model where Western Friend is a non-profit organization and is able to generate some revenue and also provide this information freely to the general public. Good balance. So we will create a branch here. I'll just call user isSubscriber. I'll kind of understand that. Now, if I just go in and remove this template tag, I think that'll break some stuff. So let's see where it's in use. I'm loading it here. And then I'm using it here to check. What I think I can do is just this. Oops. Because in our custom user model, there counts, we have an isSubscriber property that I'm guessing more or less duplicates the user isSubscriber template tag right here. So we get the request user, essentially, request.user. And if they have subscriptions, get the one that's not expired and is paid. Okay. In our model, we get the active subscription. But we don't check if it's paid, so that's actually a bug. Interesting. Oh, this is an improvement already. It's good. We're having a bit of difficulty with the Django dynamic typing, or the dynamic functionality of Django's object relational mapper, that these properties this subscription property, for example, is sort of defined at runtime. I'm not sure really how to get Pylance to recognize these dynamic fields. Let's do this in both. DuckDuckGo and GitHub Copilot Chat. I'm gonna try it again. Yeah, I probably don't need this. Capitalization. Yeah, something like that. Oh, Kesty. Let's try this question. Now, I'm pretty sure they are both powered by GPT. Let's try it in GPT-4. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes of Copilot, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not going to try to cheat it. I guess I should have, just for comparison's sake, just exactly the same input. Qualitatively different response. This is almost a GPT 3.5 level response. Well, it's a bit of overhead. But let me just see though. So, Okay, so it's just a type definition. That's not too bad. It's making it explicit, at least. And what is this define? And this may cause a circular dependency, so I might need to do at least this type checking. Right. Get that multi-stream chat up. Looks like we got a couple YouTube viewers, so I'll make sure I get everybody's chat messages. Welcome to the stream. And my database is not running, so we're just going to run Colima. Start. And Docker in the background. That way we'll get a little Postgres server running. There's a couple of features in this project that we're relying on Postgres. We've got a wagtail search page, and I think we're using the array field or the JSON array field, which is a Postgres only feature. It's not supported by SQLite. And we're targeting Postgres in production, so it's good that we're using the same database in both environments. So Docker makes that easy to spin that up, and rather than using Docker UI, I'm just using Colima here. It's a lightweight Docker UI alternative, open source. Oh, it's also state in Mexico. Container runtimes on Mac OS and Linux with minimal setup. Yeah, I was just kind of tired of running Docker UI all the time, and it's a bit of a resource hog. I don't use many of its features. I just need something to run containers periodically. I also don't want the thing running in the background all the time, so I want to be able to start it up and shut it down when I'm not using it. So Colima is a good solution for that. All right, so we got Postgres and pgadmin starting up. I don't use pgadmin as much, but it's a good tool for inspecting Postgres databases, interacting with them. And pgadmin 3, I think, is the latest. They almost, okay, there's the screenshot. You have to like mouse over it to get it. Why don't you just show me the screenshot? It's pretty good though. It's like a really sophisticated, you know, gives you runtime statistics, and you can get down into your schemas and tables and execute SQL. It's very powerful. I don't use it nearly to the extent of its capabilities. All right, but it looks like we're running here. So now I can just run the server. And I suspect this is a circular dependency because subscription probably imports user because of the foreign key. Accounts, maybe? Or did I define the... Interesting. Okay, it's actually didn't have any problems with that. All right, so that's a good lesson today, is how to get... You just give a little annotation here and tell it the related query set to expect. And MyPy then is like, oh, I get it. Just give us a query set of subscriptions. I mean, I know how to work with that. And then I can remove these. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Okay, but this is what I'm after, is essentially this should be, when I have proper type annotations, then I get real meaningful results. So it's saying that the query set can return none, which makes sense. That's exactly, you filter, and if you don't get a result, you're gonna get nothing back. And so I'm misleading myself here. Now I've got a proper annotation, I've got proper type checking, just by virtue of annotating the model with the virtual field, the one that's created at runtime. All right. So finding a couple of bugs in the code so far today. First, we were basically giving everybody free access to the website. Because you can just, you can just create a subscription. Anyway, commit this. And then not pay for it, and then you would have access. Although it's not quite that, it doesn't quite work that way, because as soon as you create the subscription, it expires immediately until the payment succeeds. So, yeah, anyway, it should be paid. Yeah. Once the payment exceeds, then we extend the date. We should really write tests, and I think we'll be writing tests to make sure of that today. Yeah, so now we have this property that's just what we're after, user and subscriber, so good. Coming back to that. And again, this insight was given through GPT-4, so it's very good at helping with these sort of puzzles. Like, it knows, I would say, mature frameworks that have been around and been well documented, and there's a lot of active code out there, so not these like projects that come and go and burn up overnight or are just within the first couple of months of development, but something like Django that's been around for many years and has been a wide adoption, extensive documentation. Then the GPT is going to know more about it and give you help. I believe this is just yet another reason to use on the server, especially a mature, well-rounded framework, Ruby on Rails, if you're interested in Ruby. If you like Python, Django, PHP, there's Laravel. What do we got? I'm not sure about other languages. I think there's, yeah, so I digress there, but use something other, and honestly, in the JavaScript ecosystem, I've been searching and there isn't one. To my knowledge, I've really been looking for something with some minimal criteria. It has more than one core contributor. It's been around for more than a year or two. By core contributor, I mean actively developing the thing. Over the course of the last year, more than 2 people have been contributing multiple commits. That's the key. Ones I have found that have batteries included is my third criteria. There's only like 1 or 2 of those that are attempting to be a kind of batteries included framework, like a Rails or a Django or Laravel kind of level 1 in JavaScript, but they have like 1 person committing and some other people who've made small patches. But really, you need something with momentum and with community maintenance, maintainers. I wish there were something in JavaScript. I've been burned by going in on a JavaScript framework that seemed like it met some of the criteria, the Meteor.js framework, but then the project really fizzled and the community dried up and moved on to the next shiny thing. So I think that's what brought me back to Django. And I just urge, when you're starting a project, use something like Flask or Django or Fast API. if you're in the Python ecosystem, and get your project built. Focus on your features and not cobbling together a framework or having to swap out underlying technologies or rebuild your infrastructure level code every 6 months. It's not a recipe for success. All right, so we're going to swap out in the menu. We're getting rid of this. Okay, here we go. I now have a little bit of code I didn't notice. Let me run that again just to see if it went away. Okay, subscription or none. So yeah, we have this. Get active subscription. What about this? Since we didn't have a, yeah, that was the problem. We didn't have a an import, like a circuit import. I don't have to use these quotes, so I'm going to remove those. Sometimes we do, and then apparently this approach doesn't work when you're annotating your function, your return. But hey, Black Sheep, welcome back. Yeah, GPT still works. Looks like they haven't nerfed it yet. I'm waiting for the code evaluation feature. It's supposed to be in wide release, I guess only in the US. Are you using any other large language models, like the open source ones? I've been following them a bit. I just can't keep up with the names and all that. What was it? Hugging face. Let's take a quick look there. Well, models. Models is where I'm heading. Stable Vicuna Chat UI. I've been wanting to check out this Chat UI. The GPT-4 Chat UI is missing some kind of features that I would like to see implemented. And I'm thinking about whether it would be worth my own effort and brain power to write a little Chat UI with Django, an open API in the background. Let's see though. Oh, I think this is Orca was the one I was like making waves about. It's on par with GPT-4. Double check this message. Yeah, I've been on the waitlist for GPT-4 via the API, you mean? But I think that GPT-4 is now generally available to all users who've got like some kind of a recent payment or something like that, successful payment. One moment, got a text message. Very cool. Yeah, there's definitely a discernible difference between the two, at least. And yeah, I think they're nerfing him in different ways because of ongoing litigation and abuse. Like they had this feature, you probably have heard this one, where it was able to browse the web, and then they had to disable that because people were bypassing paywalls. And I think they're really concerned right now with copyright and how this whole thing's going to shake out with the litigation around using copyright works and scanning them and creating a model, which is, is that a transformative work, or is it a derivative that needs proper attribution and even permission and things like that. Like one day, 2 months ago, I could give it a prompt to make some random cog for a Discord bot, and it knocked out the problem for free in no time. Now I give it the same prompt, just error-ridden with a whole cluster of issues. Okay, so it's like unlearning the code. Yeah, and well, let's dig into that a bit too, because I'm going to be asking GPT-4 to write some code for us today. And I'm Stability AI. I'll have to come back to this. This is too much of a digression, but where do I get to the organizations? How do you do that? Spaces, I guess. Stability AI. No, these are all just random. Let me see if I can just see it from here. Well, Stability AI is the main one that I'm trying to follow, but there was one other. Who's making Vicuna? Microsoft? No, it doesn't seem right. It's like one of the models that has like two different, it's like a 7 billion and 13 billion parameter size, and it's trained on fully open source data, fully open model released under the Apache. And it should be listed here because I'm pretty sure that it's not the Stability AI one, it's some other model. And it's not a like just off the shelf known name, not like a Fang, but so not Microsoft or whatever. Runway ML. I'm gonna have to find this later. If I do, maybe off the. Have you checked out the Hugging Face website and experimented with any of these models? Some of them, like the 7 billion parameter model, will even run on your own computer. And the Stability AI founder believes that we're going to have these like large language models, like open kind of GPT level quality, running on our smart device, like our phones and stuff like that, which would be pretty remarkable. He's anticipating that within the next couple of years. You can train them on private data and stuff like that. So interesting developments. Yo. All right, let's see how well. So this was actually a really good result. And GPT-4, I'm very much preferring it over the 3.5. It to me justifies the price tag of it's a subscription, 25 euros a month. But it's saved me a lot of time. It's taught me so much. It's like having custom tutor coursework, code buddy. It's really helpful in so many other ways as well. Got caught up in the grips of Diablo 4. Okay, well, yeah, that's this thing. I did this too, and I'm still on the cusp of like, should I be playing Squad? Should I check out what's that other tactical one that's been around for a long time? That's really military spec accurate. Anyway, I've been tempted with the Steam Summer Sale to jump into a couple of these games, these military first-person shooter games. When I spent hours and hours and hours on, but I think that's in my case would be a repeated mistake where I could have been spending those hours like doing something that is actually like what I'm actually creating, and something that could be useful for other people, in particular music or code. Arma, yeah, it's the right one. Arma 3 is on offer right now, and I was like, it's like 30 euros for like the whole everything Arma, all the collections, and it'll run on this computer as well. So it's a really big download. It's good price, and I've been wanting to play that game. I've played the original Arma like years ago, It was really interesting. The single player version of some campaign. I can't even remember what the name was back then, but yeah. So I'm steering myself away from those. As compelling as they are, I think this GPT and Python coding stuff is for me kind of like I'm able to produce stuff and using the same amount of time, but just for different purposes. And it's sort of a matter of like, what am I getting for my time? You know, if I were to play Arma, well, it's entertaining, it's interesting, could be building friendships and, you know, coordinating stuff, but I don't think I would get as much out of my time as I am with like writing code and stuff. Epoch mods. Yeah, didn't it spin off those, a couple of zombie games that started as Arma mods, and now I've been watching one on Twitch a bit. There's a zombie game. It's really that's pretty actually interesting and very accurate, but it only runs on Windows. I don't have a Windows computer, so probably a good reason for not getting Windows for me. All right, let's see what we're gonna do here. So we've fixed the menu here to not use this user subscriber. Here we just loaded and never used it. I think if I search for that now. We load it up, we load user subscriber, and what are we even rendering here? Magazine article. User can view full article. In fact, this is probably redundant. I'll zoom into that, but I think if it's almost as semantic if I just say request user is subscriber. It's not explicit. Whoa, hey. Copilot's trying to write some stuff here for me. So let me look at this magazine article. I could simplify the magazine model. Get context if they're a subscriber. And they have to be a subscriber or a super user or have okay, so that's whoops. Let's delete everything. That's good. That's probably pretty meaningful. There's a few more business rules that are wrapped up in that phrase. User is subscriber. Sorry, user can view full article. There's some other conditions that apply. All right, terms and conditions apply. And let's just, while we're here, add a couple of annotations. Daisy, that's the one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool mod, and it's kind of entertaining to watch. And I do like the premise of especially going with a friend into these worlds and surviving together, or joining a squad or in Arma 3. That would be really fun, and I'm kind of pining for those experiences. Request. I think I'm kind of doing that in a way with these live streams, though. I'm kind of trying to fulfill that same desire by hanging out. You know, having somebody to hang out with and do interesting stuff is always kind of cool. I think we all could agree on that. Tuple. How do you say that? Tuple? I heard it, Primogen say tuple. And this might actually not be correct. I think since it's relating to the view, it is tuple in dictionary. Ah, okay. So the mod for Arma 2 was better, yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, the game I played like 10 or 20 years ago was called Operation Flashpoint, which I think was also made by Bethesda, or the same Bohemia Interactive or whatever they are. Yeah, not Bethesda, that's a different. And maybe sharing some code base with Arma. I don't know the whole lineage of those games. Yeah, dude, and all your gear is gone, all your kit, and that's why, you know, if you got a buddy, they can look out for you. But then one of the interesting things about those maps, especially when you're only playing it for the first time, you don't have like this global navigation. You don't really know where you were, and so I see some of these streamers like, oh no, now we'll have to reconnect again, you know, like reunite or whatever. 2 hours later, they find each other randomly wandering around. So it's kind of cool. And even there was one streamer who met some random person, and then they had some adventures and like a falling out, and one of them ended up killing the other or something like that. They betrayed one another and then randomly ran into each other again like 30 minutes later. It was hilarious. So yeah, it's entertaining. It's pretty fun. Tuple. Yeah, tuple. Yeah, that's how I'd say it. That's how I've been saying it. I tried to say tuple, and I was like, have I been saying that wrong this whole time? Now, this is weird. Abstract base user or anonymous user. It doesn't know. It doesn't know that we have a custom user model. Tupperware. 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 That's how they say it in Finland. Tupperware. Because the W is a V, double V, tuplave. Alright, actually, these little annotations are out of scope. I'm not going to annotate these functions when I'm just browsing. I like it. I like having these annotations. We will probably come back through these. I wish there was a way to do that project-wide, just to handle some of these annotations for me. What happened up here? Oh, yeah. We're good with the user is subscriber, right? I've got a property and a variable, which makes sense. I had to do this check for safety. And then I've got a template tag, which is no longer in use. Sounds good. Let's delete the file. Move to trash. Okay. I like that. Let me publish my branch so our little CI will run. We've got a couple active contributors on this project as well. Great pull requests. I don't think I've got an issue for this. I've been kind of lone wolfing on this project and not really always creating an issue. Oh, wait. I do have an issue. Just assigned myself there. 756. We have to close the window real quick because the sun's coming in pretty hot. I did go for a walk. I'm not totally. Now, create draft. Let me think here strategically. This will increase our coverage in the subscriber app, which is what we were looking at here. Go back. While I'm here, let's take the time and just get our coverage for the subscription models a bit up. And so I don't have an issue for that necessarily. Yeah, I don't have any Tupperware anymore. I've got, definitely got stuff with rubber lids and things like that. All right, so our subscription models, there's a couple low-hanging fruit that I can just pick up. I think I can tell it to no QA, that line, right? Or subscription models. Or what's the, I always forget this one. I think it's just no QA. No, it's not no QA. It's not typing nor not no QA. Man, my brain. Let's see. If it would give me some choices here, that'd be helpful. What is it called? Q? Perfect. Not conditionally. Good grief. I'm starting to how to use this less and less. How do I tell? Just these general search engines and things like that. Pragma. Pragma is why I couldn't remember that. It's such a weird word. What the heck is pragma? Sounds like something you need to tell your doctor. Other tools that are processing code. In Python, pragma statements are used to provide additional information to tools like linters, code analyzers, and coverage analysis tools. I've only ever seen pragma no cover. Maybe there's other pragmas. For example, pragma no cover comment that I mentioned earlier. They pragma. Did you? Oh, because yeah, they did. It has memory. This is cool. It remembers. Remembers. So each chat response has some short-term memory there. That's what I'm kind of interested in. Oh no, I got a red X. It's probably got better short-term memory than me. And continue with this lang chain. When I get some launch, I suppose that's our goal, is to launch it next month. Then I'm going to have some, time to look at different directions. I'd like to explore this lang chain and build some kind of chatbot, open source chatbot software. I don't know exactly, but I've got the idea in my little idea book. This one's really cool because it has memory. It can connect to multiple backends. It seems pretty neat. And I'd just look into the user interface wrapper around it. I know there's a couple that already exist. All right, so we got pragma no cover there. What happened here? I didn't run the tests. Clearly, probably introduced a bug. This is because I changed paid to proof. Oh, we just need to do this. Put a trailing comma there. I've got a new thing that was supposed to be doing my trailing commas for me. And we need paid as true. So that's good. Test failure there. What else? Test kit active subscription. All right, same one. All right. No, this accounts. Alright, I'm going to top off my water while these tests are running. I will be right back. All right, good. It looks like our tests passed now. Create you. Finally, just create. Maybe the user has a special method. Create user. Anyway, the thing is working. The test is working. I'll just have to ignore that. Trailing comma there. Type ignore. All right. And what's it? Fix tests. Good. So yeah, good. We have, as we're improving our test coverage, we're getting failing tests when we're moving things and breaking, changing code. That's a good sign. It's not a bad sign. Okay. So I think we should be getting some coverage results once the, did I push? Nope, didn't synchronize change. So once the tests run successfully, then I believe it'll submit to CodeCov the results. And we're gonna then need to test this big old function there. And this one, there's maybe a way to make this a little bit cleaner. And like without the name component, without the if statements, I can say name components equals self-subscriber given name, self-subscriber family name. And then full name equals name components. So list to a string. Sure, it's obvious to somebody. Okay, let's see. To provide it, and then we got the chatbot I came up with would just take the user input, append it to a text file, send that through the API in conversation chat mode each time. Take the bot's response and append it to the file as well. Not very efficient. Then I'd have it create a new file after X size to cut down on the token usage. Oh yeah, it's an interesting approach. Yeah, the token window, and I think basically LangChain has an approach like that. It has several approaches to memory. One is exactly, I think, what you described, but it also has a couple other options. And the cool thing about LangChain is it's maintained by a broader community, and so the solutions are going to be a bit more robust than what we kind of invent when we lone wolf these types of problems. Another approach is to vectorize the conversation or summarize this one. So there's two approaches. So that's like a truncate approach. It's like a moving window over the conversation, but it preserves the whole text raw up to the window size of the, as you said, the token limit. Summarization is another way to reduce the token count. So you can ask the model to summarize the previous responses, or for a response and responses, summarize response. Then you get that's a way to reduce token. It's like a form of compression, but it's lossy compression, of course, because it's semantics will lose meaning, even though the summary might be pretty close. And then they have another approach where we can, use a vector database and vectorize some of the responses and somehow feed those vectors back into either a locally running machine or model, or perhaps even to ChatGPT API. I'm not sure if you can run it with your own vector database. But yeah, here's the chat message history. Are you on? Yeah. Twitch. I'll send this link in Twitch. You can check it out. And if you're interested in this, I'm going to be oops, I'm not logged into Twitch. I can't send it on Twitch. At least through the little OBS. Yeah, it was one of those one-off experiments. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That was pretty interesting. And getting that variable, but okay. Saving message history. And you can persist it. One of the tutorials was actually getting pretty deep into maintaining the history and mentioned the token limits and how it kind of works, strategies to work around that. LangChain provides memory and components in two forms. First, LangChain provides helper utilities for managing to incorporate these utilities into chains. Memory involves keeping a concept of state around throughout a user's interactions with a language model. And some of these memories can cross the conversation barrier too, if you want. Basically, you can start to create your own personal knowledge base and remember user responses. Relatedly, this AI Jesus on Twitch is quite an interesting channel for myriad reasons. But one of them is that it has a memory of previous interactions and previous questions that the chatters have presented or asked. And when somebody will ask a question and be like, hey, black sheep, or black 5 heap, he actually, I literally will read your name. I remember your previous questions or comments about how to pronounce tuple, and thanks for your insights. You know, it's just like pretty rad. That I'm wondering how they implement that memory feature. It seems a bit like it would be a lot of memory to security hotspot now. Possible hard-coded password. Okay, this is actually not a security vulnerability. Our test coverage is increased. Where is the... Oh, okay, so the Sonar Cloud is the thing that's blocking. Okay, let's just fix that. Ready? I think I'm logged in. No, I'm not logged in. All right, let me log in real quick. Or I can just log in real quick. Okay, that was easy. So we will review this. This is in a test environment. This is safe because it's just a dummy data. So now if we come back over here to our pull request, Sonar Cloud should issue. It'd be nice if I could resolve it here as just a comment. Probably is a way of doing it. Resolve safe. Hey, very cool. So our test coverage went up. How do I read this? Our subscription model, okay, we're at 64%. It's gone up 0.64%. And we're gonna continue that trend upwardly. So essentially, accounts has good test coverage. Subscriptions needs more tests. Subscriber full name. I think I can re-implement this. I don't know if it matters, but I should probably get that. One thing I can think of right off is that they're saving all the conversation history with alias, AI Jesus, and checking if the user has interacted with it before. Something like Fuzzy Wuzzy, I think, or Python could also be previous interactions. Yeah, so it might not be even, that's kind of interesting. Fuzzy Wuzzy, I haven't heard of that one. Let me check that out. Fuzzy Wuzzy. It could be a separate service, like not even a large language model, or somehow they can query the previous interactions from the large language model and then say, summarize this, or something like that. So sort of like a multi-step process. Fuzzy Wuzzy. Give me the lowdown. What does this do? Fuzzy string matching, Python. Named and moved. The fuzz. Okay. Yeah, just join and then space, of course. I don't know why my brain just doesn't work well. And then in this case, I wouldn't need the R strip one. So I think it's a bit cleaner. So name components. Equals, and so list or an array of whoops. Then we will return. It's got to have space there. Join name components. And let's give it a little doc string over here. Unit tests. Yeah, previous interaction. So it's like, you know, in the database or whatever, you find all questions from user, questions where user ID equals such and such, or username is such and such. You get the raw texts back, and then you can feed that as an API request. Given the whatever the limitations of the token limit, you could say, please summarize these, and you get the result back from OpenAI. And then you say, given the summary of previous interactions, please greet the user, recognizing their previous interactions, whatever, something like that. So yeah, multi-step process. That's pretty cool. Yeah. See, I'd like to get into some of these types of things. So I'm pretty curious about exploring this lang chain and building a little Python and Django project around it. I've looked at a few options for this. Hypothetical project and like some ready-made UI toolkits for web apps. And there's some tutorials that are already available covering most of it, but I think Django is a really good fit for this, particularly that it would let me have a multi-user environment. And I'm wanting to add some features that I find lacking, such as I don't want all my conversations to be grouped by the date or whatever. This is not meaningful to me. I want to be able to categorize. I want to create folders of conversations, more similarly to what you get with things like Canva, where you have workspaces and you put your related conversations in a single folder or categories or some kind of tagging system. This time-based sorting is, you know, I'm wanting to go back to previous conversations, and it's just really awkward. I don't remember when I had that conversation. So that's a simple one. You know, like these kind of, you know, some kind of interface like this, I can tag conversations and go back to the ones that are sharing some tags. But I think it would be a worthwhile project. And I haven't found one that exactly offers that. I've been exploring some of these other open source multi-chat user interface projects. All right, so we've refactored the subscriber full name property. Now let's test this subscriber full name property. Now this is the fun part. 'Cause, 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 we've got our subscription models. Subscription tests, I mean. And let's try this with GPT-4. Start up here. And I think to limit the token usage, I'm only going to pass in the fields I need. I need to wrap. These are more like view tests. This is one interesting thing that Wagtail does, is it combines your views and your models in an interesting way. But for this model, the subscriber model, I'm only lacking tests for one particular method, it looks like. So let's go ahead and just copy the parts down to subscriber given and family name. Delete the other fields that aren't relevant. Where's my chat? Given and family name. End date's not so important right now. Empty string though. There's a permutation issue. So let's see what it gives me. So I'm just giving it the model. Oh, and I missed the method. So I need to also provide it with the method. Otherwise it's going to have to infer the method, and it might be able to do that. But, and the stir method I think is pretty straightforward. So just... well, let's add them, because I'm going to write these tests. But I've updated them. And these tests will help me determine if my code changes are like meaningful or correct. All right, here we go. See what we get. Mic audio is coming through distorted. Sounds like a loose connection somewhere. Oh, could be. I don't see how it would be. How is it now? Could be a bandwidth issue also. But the video quality, is it suffering? Let me check my input real quick. I just noticed that it's coming through the right device. Down mixing to mono. And check my filters. I'll edit them and I'll turn them off incrementally. Let me know if it's still happening, but let's disable. Noise gate is disabled. Noise suppression is disabled. Compressor is disabled. I'm going to leave the limiter on. I don't want to blast anyone's ears out. Still there. You know, it also could be my CPU is struggling. Let me, so I'm going to re-enable these plugins. Re-enabling the compressor. Compressor is enabled. Re-enabling noise suppression now. Noise suppression is enabled. Re-enabling noise gate. Noise gate is enabled. And then one thing I can do is just switch my input to the webcam input, which is not going to be as nice. And maybe switch it back to the, let's see. Here's my, it's coming. Here's the built-in microphone. Built-in microphone. Built-in microphone. Here's my USB. Okay, let me do that. View stats. View. The only problem is I'm using Streamlabs desktops. Streamlabs desktop. But they have activity monitor, allocation and leaks, file activity, system trace, profilers, services. Yeah, let's see. OBS Studio. There's a little stats button. That could be the missing link. Stream quality is good. 36% CPU, 22 frames per second, 90% or 0.4 drop frames, 4,000 kilobytes per second, kilobits per second. It's disconnected, but not very often. And then I can get 20% off of the Litra Beam this month. Good grief. Maybe I need to switch back to OBS, but I just don't know how to use all these nice layouts. I like to have this little thing around the video. Yeah, okay, so the old 27.2.4 might be a better. What am I running here? I'm running Streamlabs Desktop 1.13. And I don't think I can change my audio settings while I'm running, but I'll just check my audio. It's running 44.1 kilohertz and stereo audio, and then the output audio bitrate is 160. My encoder preset though is set to very high, very fast. But that's for video and audio. I don't know what to fix here. I'm sorry. That's really a bummer. The audio is acting up. My computer's not so overwhelmed. Wow, this is an interesting little combinatorics for me here. Ooh, that's a cool test. I'm wondering if these should be sub-tests, these assertions, or not. Probably not. Okay, let's give it a try. So actually, I just need a class here. In our tests, we'll put it here. Okay, yeah, let me know if it's the browser issue. All right, subscription. Oh, no, that was not the right. Subscription dot tests dot test case. Subscription test case. I wonder if there's like an audio test I can do to like hear my audio. Oh, you know what I can do? At the risk of causing a feedback loop, I can load my stream up here. Set my output. Turn it up just a bit. And load my stream in a different browser just so I don't get a weird surreal effect. But from my headphones, they're monitoring my microphone. The audio is clear, so that's not really saying much because the headphones are plugged directly into the microphone. But at least at that point, the microphone's not malfunctioning, so it would have to be further down the signal path, like my USB. Now I've got my microphone plugged into a USB. Oh, it was on your end? Okay, cool. All right, I'll leave it alone. Strange, but yeah, so curious. When we're troubleshooting these things, they can occur at so many different levels. All right, so hey, the test passed. Now look at this. This is pretty interesting code. I just prompted it with essentially what my code looked like, and in a quick test to test permutations, and it created these two possibilities. Each field can be empty or John Woolman. It's more appropriate. Empty or have a name, and then we can do for name and names, for last name and last name. Yeah, let's just do this though. Family names. And I'm not sure if it matters here. This, well, it's the way it wrote it, so I will do that, fix that. There we go. There we go. And let me just check these assertions so that they look good, right? So it should not be empty with spaces. So that's a bug in my book, because, and that's the I understand the implementation there. So we would actually want to then strip, I think, or yeah, would strip give me the strip get rid of the empty string? I was thinking also if I could make this a simple test case, but no. Also, maybe since I started to remote into a machine to do some weekly updates and unify devices starting doing their own self-maintenance. Yeah, that'll just run a bunch of stuff in the background. And you think it might have been causing like network jitter or something like that? So let me ask my incredibly intelligent coding assistant if this didn't work, this strip method didn't work. There's probably a Pythonic way of doing this to get rid of the empty string, or just a different way of joining those strings. Not a zero length. Integrity error. Not null constraint. Huh. Didn't get that one the first time. Oh yeah, this comes back to this whole thing of whether I should be mocking these. Okay. So I don't know if my code got any better. But clearly this strip is not the solution that I'm after. Okay. Well, is this more readable? Not really. A little bit better. All right, now let's tell our friend, oops, GPT about our non-null thing. I'm worried it's going to cause a whole bunch of hassles. Having to mock a user or create a user instance for this subscription test. I know that's a safe. I wonder if pragma no cover works here. Waiting for a result. Whoops. Yeah. And it's getting towards dinner time. I have to figure something out for dinner. Alright, I should have told it to keep DB. It's pretty slow. Microwave nachos. That sounds good. Alright. Let's see if this, if I fix the non-null constraint there, though. I'm going to copy this and just rerun my tests. Having run all the migrations. Microwave nachos sounds pretty yummy. What do you put on your nachos? So you got tortilla chips and cheese, I'm assuming, as the baseline requirements for nachos. But the adventure starts there. Or do you just do tortillas and cheese? Do you make your own tortilla chips, by the way? I've never done that. I've done pita crisps, I think. using an existing database is still slow. Wow. Oh, you know why? No, it needs to do that one at a time, doesn't it? I don't know why fundamentally my computer is so slow at running tests. Getting back into the bachelor groove, yeah. Your dietary quality and requirements have just dropped back into the sort of demilitarized zone. I don't know what the analogy would be better, but basically into the what's the name of that zone that Stalker went into, the exclusion zone or something like that. It's more like radioactive. Order up and fry together some flour tortillas and just dump some shredded cheese and jalapenos on it. Yeah, that's pretty yummy. You get pickled jalapenos, or are they fresh? We can find fresh jalapenos here in Finland, but it's not so common. All right then. Our assertions are failing, but our tests are running. And that's because this is now fixed. And I would like to make this more explicit. Equals that. Yeah. But it's tricky, isn't it? All right. No, this is actually not bad. What am I thinking here? That's pretty well written. And the empty string was an okay. I'll leave it there though. Let's just put some trillium commas. Should I run them one more time? I don't think I've changed anything that would break anything. Some Mezzetta tamed jalapenos just to make it more into it for the flavor. Yeah, that's a good point. Some of these things, and especially some of the hot sauces, can be so hot that like just you can't taste the food. That's really a bummer. I need to tear down. That's interesting. So what are we gonna do? Self.user. Setup. I'll run that in setup. And, right. Oh. Setup data. Only needs to run once per suite or whatever. And then tear down def. Where are we? One level in. Okay, not two. No, def. Yeah. All right. So now I can't keep the DB, unfortunately. Mezzetta, tamed jalapenos. Never heard of that brand, Mezzetta. And in Finland, we're pretty starved for the diversity you might find in the cross-cultural sections of the markets around the world. Of course, we have like Old El Paso brand. And the generic brands were like each grocery store has generic brands, so they'll typically have a salsa and some pickled jalapenos. Refritos. Negritos, I don't know how you say those, but refried beans and the kind of the pureed black bean stuff. I'm probably cussing here in Spanish. I shouldn't speak languages I don't have a grasp on. But I do like me some refried beans. Now I know those are refritos. Instruments. Ah. Interesting. I opened up the CPU profiler somehow through this Visual Studio Code. All right. Yes. Oh man, it's been sitting there and I've been spacing off. It's been a long day. I'm tired, and I was up till like 2 a.m. last night. That's my excuse. I did rent an interesting movie. I can't let's see what's the name of that. It's like Melancholia. Melancholia. I haven't watched it. I've watched half of it. It's kind of an art house movie. Melancholia? Melancholia. Movie. (2011). Lars van Trier. This is pretty interesting though. I don't know how it's going to shape up, but it's got pretty good ratings. Kirsten Dunst is pretty cool actress. Yeah, I thought I would try it. Alright, come on, tests. I feel like I'm waiting for so long for these tests. What are we even going to test next? String. Stir. Let's see if Copilot can give me that test on the stir method real quick. If I just give it a little descriptive name here. Hit the right key. And get the right level of indentation. And this is almost faster to run these in continuous integration. Okay. No tip. Okay. I guess since these are run in a transaction, my teardown doesn't have access to... Oh. What the heck? To that, they've already been... I'm not sure. I really don't understand why it can't access that attribute, self-user, because we're accessing self-user here over and over. So Django must be doing something behind the scenes. Let's go ahead and run them again. Keeping the database. I'm ashamed to admit I've gotten into a fall asleep routine with 90s era Martha Stewart shows playing in the background. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess sometimes it's just nice to have something in the background while you're doing whatever, trying to sleep in particular. But, doing work or whatever. Sometimes I'll be coding and I'll just pop on like a podcast or a Udemy course or something like that. And some sort of halfway listening to it. But can't do that when I'm live streaming because copyright. Besides, I wouldn't have interesting conversations. I had like 3 streams of thought going on. Ran 2 tests, failed with 2. All right. Oh, I know what's going on here. This is totally my bad. Basically, this is a class method, this setup data. And it's not running the way I'm expecting it to. The setup will run before each test function. And then the teardown can, so it'll set the right property, and then the teardown and the test functions can access self.user. And it runs into the transaction. Okay. Ooh. Now I just have a typo in my assertion. My model. And I'm going to consider that these are correct. Right, subscriber full name. I think at this point I'm ready to take a break. I need to eat dinner. The remaining tests are going to be more fraught. They're essentially view tests. As I mentioned earlier, Wagtail page models sort of combine the idea of model and view into one. These page models have a server method that you can override if needed, such as changing template context or handling form submissions and things like that. It's pretty interesting. So in a way, Wagtail saves you a lot of time not having to wire up URLs and view patterns, but your URL structure is more dynamic in a way because the pages can exist at different levels of the page tree depending on how strictly you've constrained them. It's pretty interesting though. Nonetheless, these are basically view functions, and I'll need to test them as such. And I've just in recent days been working, and I know that these view functions have been a bit more strained than some of the testing model property things. So I'd like to come back at this with a fresh mind, or at least not so tired and hungry. So this has been another episode of Tech with Briley. Trying out that name. I think it's a bit more broad in scope than Code with Briley. Although we are mainly focusing on code, I'd like to start dabbling into other areas of technology like large language models, probably writing some code still, but maybe even doing some non-code related sessions. So thinking about the name Tech with Briley. Thanks Black Sheep EXE for hanging out. It's really nice to have familiar usernames and have interesting conversations. Hope you're doing well out there and enjoying the nachos, right? You're still eating those nachos. Maybe I'll have some nachos tonight as well. All right, well, thanks again for stopping by the stream and have a great day or evening. And enjoy those episodes of Martha Stewart living. See ya.